2025. Sorry. Thank you for joining Q3 2025 Set Digital Roadshow of CK Power Public Company Limited. And thank you Stock Exchange of Thailand for having us here. First, we would like to introduce our management joining in the meeting. First one, คุณมัชนา เอื้อกิจขจร Senior Deputy Managing Director Corporate Planning.
สวัสดีค่ะ Good afternoon ค่ะ
Second, คุณสิริพัฒน์ นานานุกูล our CFO. สวัสดีครับ Good afternoon. And my name is ธรรมขจร นันทพงศ์ Investor Relations. Okay, today we will talk about 4 main topics. We are and what we're doing, and what our portfolio look like, and what it will look like in the next 3 or 5 years. The current project progress update and financial performance for the first 9 months of this year. And lastly, we will close up with the Q&A session. Let's moving on to the corporate review. Who we are. We are CK Power. We are the investment power arm of Chao Kan Chang or CK Group, which consists of the CK itself, the top tier EPC contractor in Thailand, the TTW, water utility company in Thailand, and BEM, the leading expressway and metro company in Thailand. Totally, they hold us around 72%, and we have free float around 28%. And our current market cap is around almost 20 billion baht, and approximately $600 million USD. Next slide, please. Our current portfolio is we have 3.6 gigawatt installed capacity. Mainly is from hydro from 92%, and 7% from cogeneration or gas, and the last one is the solar. We have 1%. So 93% of our portfolio is from renewable energy. So we quite clean and different from the other power player in market. All of our hydro assets are in Lao VDR, consists of Nam 2, the Reservoir 1, and the Sayaburi and Luang Prabang is the run-of-river type. Currently, Luang Prabang is under construction and expect to COD within the 2030. And we have cogeneration plants in Thailand. We have 2 plants in Bamrin, India. And we have several solar projects across Thailand in Chiang Rai, Nakhon Ratchasima, and etc. The bottom one of the page, we have the pipeline of the capacity growth. The top one with the blue line is the secure projects, which now we focus on the COD of Luang Prabang in 2030. And the bottom one with the green dot line are the projects in pipeline, which is basically the solar projects of around 8 to 10 megawatts a year. So moving on to the sustainability framework of CK Power, we use the CK and P strategy to cover all the dimension of the ESG. C stands for the clean electricity, consists of the energy management and climate change and biodiversity, which we have the long-term targets of the net zero by 2050, which align with the new target of the Thailand net zero. And we looking forward to increase the capacity of renewable to at least 95% within by 2043. And we looking for the 100% of renewable for internal use of electricity by 2043 as well. And we looking for the no net loss of biodiversity in all our plants, both in Thailand and in Lao VDR within the 2040. And K is that for the kind neighbors, which have 2 pillars for the human rights and social and community care. we're looking for the zero cases of both human rights violation and zero cases of again unsolved complaints from the our supply chain or our communities around the power plants. And last one, the P stand for Partnership for Life. We use the business model resilience pillar. We looking for the new customer within the new locations, and we use the new innovations to maximize the utilization of our power plants. So let's moving on to the project progress update. Currently, the Luang Prabang hydropower project, as of the September 2025, the construction progress is stood at 59%. Until now, it should be more than 60% by now, and the COD is expected to be in the early 2030. CK Power, as the shareholder of 50% of the Luang Prabang Power Company Limited, we have the obligation to inject the equity into the project for total almost 21 billion baht. Until now, the accumulate equity injection from the first day until September 2025 is now almost 10 billion baht. So the remaining equity injection needed to be increased in the banks around 11 billion baht until the 2029. So moving on into the financial performance of the 9 months this year. Normally CK Power, we have the total revenue of around 10 billion baht a year, and as of 9 months of this year, we have seen a little bit growth of the total revenue around 2%. The main driver of the growth is from the Namdong 2, which they produce electricity is quite well in the first 9 months, but there is a little bit offset from the EIC from the Bang Bin Cogen from 2 main factors: the lower electricity sales volume and the lower electricity sales tariff based on the lower gas price in Thailand. From the EBITDA, CK Power have the EBITDA of around 4.5 to 5 billion baht a year, or around 45% of EBITDA margin. For the first 9 months of this year, we have also seen the growth of EBITDA for 10%. Also, the driver is also from the Namdong 2 as well, and a little bit offset from the Bang Bin Cogen. The main contributor of EBITDA to CK Power consolidated level is from the Namdong 2, and following by the Bang Bin Cogen, and following by the CKP itself, and the last one is Bang Khet Chai, solar one. And the next one is the core share profits, which is exclude the foreign exchange gain and losses. The core share profits is main driven by the performance of Saiburi, the run of River Hydro, which up and down from the fluctuation of the hydro, the water flow through the power plants. For the first 9 months of this year, the Saiburi also played major share profit contributor to the CK Power consolidated level. We have seen significant growth from last year, more than 1,000% on first 9 months of this year. As you will see from the right-hand side of the chart, the Saiburi operation is increased from last year for more than 1,100 million baht, because the Saiburi hasn't suspended its operation this year versus last year. They have temporarily shut down for around 17 days. So the last one, the core impact, which also exclude the FX gain and losses. CK Power have the core impact of around 2,000 baht, 2,000 million baht a year, or around 20% of impact margin. And this year, 9 months, we have seen the growth of around 200% this year. The driver also come from the Nam 2 and the Sayaburi, offsetting by the Bang Bin Cogen and a little bit from the final cost from CK Power itself, from its first green debentures issuance this year, 5,000 million baht in June for the equity injection in the Baht. So all in all, the core impact have seen a good sign for this year. So we think this year will be the good year for CK Power Group as itself. Moving on to the Nam 2 performance. Normally, Nam 2 have the total revenue of around 4,000 baht a year, and with the core EBITDA margin of around 25% and core impact of around 30% a year. For the first 9 months of this year, the core impact have seen growth significantly, almost 50%. As I mentioned before, the Nam 2 has the water in its reservoir quite well at the end of last year. So, and the water inflow is quite well in the first 9 months of this year as well. So the Nam 2 has the higher the electricity sales volume than last year, and also it's gradually redeem the debentures. So the finance costs gradually going down as well. So this is the 2 main driver for the growth of the performance of Nam 2 this year. And for the key activities next year, 2026, we going to continue to monitor the water inflow and maintain the maximized utilization of the engine for the electricity generations. So moving on to the Nam 2 operation of this year, we say 9 months, but in the chart we show it to October already. For the 10 months of this year, the Nam 2 have the water inflow into the reservoir of around 7,000 million cubic meter, growth from last year for around 26%. And for the electricity sales, we already declared the electricity generation in Q4 of around almost 600 gigawatt hour, or around 0.4% growth from last year. But in total, full year of this year, 2025, we have seen the growth of electricity from Nam 2 of almost 20% from last year. If you want to see the operation of each power plant of CK Power Group, we disclose the operating statistics on our website with the electricity generation and the other indicator, significant indicator such as the water inflow or water flow through the power plants on monthly basis on our websites. You can, if you want to see. This year would be possibly be the record high for the Nam 2 financial performance. As you see that the 9 months is already the record high of Nam 2 already. So within Q4, I think the Nam 2 would be the very, very good year for this year. On the right hand side, on the top chart, the reservoir level at the end of the October is stood at 322 meter above the mean sea level, from maximum of 375, and we expect the Nam 2 will close this year with the level of 369 or 370, which is quite similar to the last year. And the bottom one, we also given you here for the electricity tariff of number 2. You see the number 2 also have the element of the USD for electricity tariff as well. But in leverage average tariff, it will be around 2 baht per unit for number 2. Moving on to the Siberia performance this year. Normally, Siberia will have the revenue of around 14 to 16 billion baht a year, with the core EBITDA margin of 90% plus, and the core impact margin of around 20%. And as I mentioned earlier, Siberia this year is quite performed significantly improved from last year. So you see the its core impact of 2.7 billion baht against last year around 100 million baht. The key driver is from the electricity sales volume, which I mentioned that Siberia hasn't sustained its electricity generating this year. Also, we have seen the tropical storm or the storm to the power plants 3 to 4 times this year. And another factor is the lower finance cost, which is from the interest rate trends of the global interest rate trend. From the USD, the Siberia also have the US dollar and the Thai baht loan. So both US dollar and Thai baht interest rate going down. So this will be benefit for the Siberia going on in the next quarter, and we hope it's this momentum will keep going on to the next first half next year. And the average cost of debt of Siberia is as at Q3 this year is stood at 6.6%, and the long-term debt of Siberia is stood at 79 billion baht with the fixed rate of 25% and float rate of 25%. So you will see that Siberia have the float rate of 25 with the lower interest rate trend. So it's going to be different for the Siberia performance. And the key activity next year, Siberia will going to continue have the partial overhaul in Q1 and Q4 next year. Actually, Siberia have the partial overhaul this year as well, and they will continue to work and into the next year in Q1 and Q4. We will do not do the overhaul in Q3, which is the high season for the hydro power plant, because in the Q3 we will use all the generation. All the turbines have to be ready for the Q3 to generate electricity to maximize the performance. So moving on into the operation of Siberia in the first 9 months of this year. At the end of October, Siberia had average water flow to the power plant of around 4,700 cubic meter per second, or increased by around 5% from last year. And for the sales volume, as of 10 months, we have total of 6,500 gigawatt hour, or growth of the 23% from last year. And as you will see from the right hand side of the chart, average water flow to the power plant in Q3 this year a little bit lower than last year, but with the efficiency of the management of the water flow, we can manage the power plant to continue produce the electricity through this high amount of high volume of water. Also, at the bottom, we leave you the electricity tariff, which the same, almost the same structure of the 2. We have USD portion of the tariff, but in the average of the tariff is also stood at around 2 baht per unit. Okay, moving on into the Bang Pin cogen, the natural gas one. The Bang Pin cogen has total revenue of around 4 to 5 billion a year, except the 2022 and 2023, which we have seen the natural gas spike up abnormally from the war situation. So the normal EBITDA margin of the Bang Pin cogen is stood at around 25%, and the impact margin of around 10% a year. And for the 9 months of this year, we have seen a drop of the Bang Pin cogen performance from 3 main factors. For the right-hand side of waterfall chart, you will see the drop of electricity sales revenue. This consists of the 2 main reasons. The first one is the drop of the electricity sales volume from the Bang Pin cogen 1 unplanned maintenance in July and August, and the Bang Pin cogen 2 major overhaul, which is the planned maintenance in the August. So these 2 maintenance caused the lower electricity sales volume. Plus the natural gas price in this year is going down versus last year, and these 2 main factors caused the lower electricity sales revenue from last year, and it will be offset by the cost of sale, which mainly from natural gas price. When the natural gas price go down, the cost of sale is go down as well. So it will be offset with the lower electricity sales, which go down from the natural gas price. And the Bang Pin cogen also gradually repay the principal of its long-term loan. So their financing costs also going down, gradually going down as well. Key activity next year, we're going to continue to maximize the electricity production through the maximize the efficiency of the engine, and we will post-modular with the cash flow management of the Bang Pin cogen. And for the operation of the first 9 months of the Bang Pin cogen this year, as I mentioned before, we have the maintenance in July and August. So you see a drop of the sales in July and August of around 30 gigawatt hour a month, and then going back to the normal level at September and October. And for the gas price, at the end of October, we've seen the lower trend of the gas price, which is quite a good news for Bang Pin cogen, which is the gas price stood at lower than 300 baht per MMBTU for 2 or 3 months already. So we'll hopefully this momentum is going to be continued to the Q4 and the first half of next year as well. For the last one, the Bang Khien Chai, the solar one, the Bang Khien Chai is used to have the subsidized from the government, we call it tariff adder. But after the tariff adder expired in 2022, the new normal of the revenue of the Bang Khien Chai is around 90 million baht a year, with the EBITDA margin of around 80% plus and the impact margin of around 20%. a year. For the first 9 months of this year, we have seen the drop of the performance of the Bank Chai because of the lower electricity sales volume from the degradation of the panel, the solar panel, and also we have seen the lower FT rate in Thailand. So these two main factors affect the Bank Chai financial performance this year. So we're moving on to the balance sheet of the CK Power as at 30 September of 2025. The total asset of CK Power as at the end of Q3 this year stood at 77 billion baht, which we have seen a growth from the end of 2024, which mainly from the investment, the continuing investment in the local bank and the recognition of the Saiburi strength performance in the first 9 months this year, with the proceeds from the company green debentures issuance in this year. For the leverage ratio, we have seen the low net interest bearing debt to equity ratio, which is the covenant from the CK Power Group's debenture. We have seen it stood at 0.53 times, which quite very low against the not exceeding 3 times for the covenant. And for the loan and debentures, we have seen the outstanding of 33 billion baht, which consists of the 62% of the debenture and loan from CK Power itself, and 26% from Namgyal 2, and the last one is 12% from Bangpin Cogen. Please note that only 12% of Bangpin Cogen is float rate. The rest of the long-term loan and debentures would be the fixed rate. And the average cost of debt of CK Power consolidated level stood at 3.67% at the end of Q3 this year. In terms of investment and capex plans, as I mentioned before, we now focusing on the investment in local bank. So we have prepared the capex for the equity injection into the local bank for around 14 billion baht from 2025 to the 2029, and another 500 billion baht for the other investment, which will be only investment in renewable energy project only. For the actual 9 months of this year, we already inject around 3.2 billion baht into the local bank, and we use around 100 billion baht into the investment of our new solar power plant. And the last one, the leverage ratios. We have seen the net interest bearing debt to adjusted EBITDA stood at around 4 times as at the end of the Q3 this year, and we expected this ratio will be stood lower than 5 times this year as well, and continuing going on this momentum. For the ICR, we have seen the 4.74 times as at the end of Q3 this year, and we have seen the continuing growth of the ICR from the 2022 until 2025 from the continuing growth in our EBITDA. For the update, a little bit updated on the credit ratings. Saiburi has this 2025 is the first year of Sainsbury that have the international ratings. It has the company rating of B plus and the issue rating. It has two tranches of the debentures. The first one, the plain one, the non-guaranteed one, it has B plus with the stable outlook, and with the another tranche of the guarantee debentures, they have the issue rating of triple B plus, and they used to have the stable outlook, but after the Fitch revised the outlook for Thailand, also the commercial bank that our guarantor outlook also revised. So Sainsbury issue rating also have to revise its outlook for this tranche as well. So it's going to be the triple B plus with the negative outlook. So that's all for the presentation.